It's gonna be hard when we do fucking the shows, though.
Yeah.
Even with Star Wars and shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna... And there's a lot of shows for Star Wars. There's fucking... They got Lego series.
Yeah.
There's like 3 of them.
What is up, guys? This is Mark with the mic. This is another Shell Shock podcast by Red Cyclone Inc. I am Mark with the mic, and I'm joined by Tenacious T.
I am via Comcast, 75 miles away, baby.
As intended.
As the world knows, the world has gone to the shitter.
Yes. The world has shit its bed.
Yes, it has.
Yes.
So we are doing what we can to make sure that we keep giving you the content.
And entertainment. We try to entertain you. That's our best. That's what our goal is, to entertain everybody.
Hey, listen, man. I'm just happy to sit here and talk with you.
Yes.
This is what we do at work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I haven't been at work. You were on vacation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is refreshing to me.
Yes.
So I do not mind this at all.
So we welcome to Shell Shock. This is the all Ninja Turtle podcast by Red Cyclone Inc. I'm Mark the Mic. I'm joined by Tenacious T. And today we have TMNT3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time.
It's not called Turtles in Time.
So that's the thing I was going to get at. So later on the DVD print, it says Turtles in Time. It was never titled Turtles in Time until I saw that DVD print.
It was never, in my eyes, I've never heard Turtles in Time besides the video game, the Super NES game.
No, I have heard Turtles in Time for this movie. This was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time. Yeah.
Well, it's better off just being number 3 because this movie shit the bed.
So this movie, oh god, I have a lot of issues with this movie, but then there's some things I did like it about this movie. But
first and foremost, I'm just happy to even have another live action Turtles movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless of the small things in here and there, and the big things here and there that actually matter when it comes to making a live action movie.
Yeah.
I was happy that they came out with a third one.
Yeah. So
I'm just gonna start off on a positive note before I start shitting on this thing. Okay.
So like the big thing about this is the fact that on shout outs to It Gets Better as Rap podcast, which is our regularly weekly podcast about everything and everything. Me and Louis Beans, Mike, we have been going through like all live action video game movies. So I have been watching shit movies for the last couple weeks.
I'm so jealous that you did fucking
Double Dragon.
Double Dragon, man. Me and my brother fucking love that movie. As much as it sucks, I love that movie.
We might have to get you on for a further movie cast then.
Listen, man, you'd let me know.
Yes.
I got that.
So the next movie after this, this week is Street Fighter,
which is an equally shitty movie
with Jean-Claude Van Damme, but it's great. Yeah. It's shitty but great.
I love.
It's like a shitty great.
Who plays Chun-Li? I fucking love her.
Oh, she's great. She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was the voice of Mulan. She was
Lois in Smallville, wasn't she?
No.
That wasn't her?
You're talking about the Legend of Chun-Li, which is a terrible fucking movie.
Okay, the Legend of Chun-Li. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew she played Chun-Li.
Yeah.
I just knew that. You know what I mean? And I remember the show. I remember the movie. You know what I mean? That was the last movie from my man Gomez Adams. Before he passed away.
Raul Julia, yes.
That was his last performance. I remember. He played Major Bison.
Like we said, if you're willing to watch a movie and stuff like that, we'll get you on for another Gets Better After Our podcast, which will be the first one you actually be on. So let me know.
At me, 'cause I'm down
our next movie is Mortal Kombat, so I think you will enjoy that very dearly, and you should join us for that cast.
Bro, you just let me know, and I'm in there. Tenacious T will finally link up with the rest of Red Cyclone Inc., which is long overdue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would be honored to hit those pod waves with the rest of the council.
All right. So Mortal Kombat, Tenacious T, Mortal Kombat. We'll be
I'm in
there
there.
for next Sunday.
You let me know.
All right.
Next Sunday.
Yes,
I'm in
yes,
there.
yes. All right. So today's cast is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time, which got a title of Turtles in Time later on in the movie. It did not come out with the movie itself. So it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. That's pretty much what we're going to call it.
Yeah. Movie came out in 1993.
Yeah, March 19th, 1993. It was 96 minutes long. It actually did okay.
It doubled its money.
Yeah, it doubled its money.
You know, for a budget of $21 million, they must have pocketed a lot of that money.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, but it was so poorly put together that $21 million, you would think it would be more of a, of a show. More of a, like an adventure. It looks so bad. Like, I think there was some pocketing going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Box office, they made $42.2 million. So they literally made double what they spent.
Yeah.
They got their money back and made $21 million. Which I can see why they didn't make another one afterwards. Because Saban ended up buying it, right?
Yeah. Saban, and this is the Dark Ages of Teenage Mutant Ninja. This actually started the Dark Ages of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
This was the down slope.
Yes. So what was your experience with this movie?
All right. Well, obviously, growing up, I had, number one, the first one coming out, which was still to this day a cinematic masterpiece.
It's amazing.
It is probably one of the best visual live action. Even up to today, that movie would go punch for punch with Marvel movies today of how good it was put together. Number two was so much more fun and so much more comic-y. You know what I mean? To me, which I love number two. I watched probably number two more than I watched number one in my adolescent times.
Yeah.
Because it was, I just liked the Super Shredder, and Nintendo and Super NES was out, and you get to play that in Turtles in Time.
Okay.
So when the third movie came along, I did not see it in the theaters. I remember watching it on VHS tape at somebody's house, and then my mom bought the 3-pack. They had the VHS 3-pack, and I remember watching it, and that was the one that collected the most dust.
Okay.
I actually do remember enjoying it a lot, but also hearing my peers shit on it. And kids are ruthless. You know what I mean? If they don't hold your attention span, you know what I mean, then it's a dead flop. So technically, this movie in my youth to the rest of the world was definitely a dead fish, but I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was like my time in the 90s. Now we're talking 93. I'm fucking 7, 8 years old at this time. You know what I mean? So you put Turtles on the TV, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So
I one thing I always start with these stories is with my mom. My mom always took me to see these movies. So, my mom, after work, we went to see it, the midnight show. Not the midnight show. It was like a 10 p.m. showing of it on that Friday that it came out.
What are you, 10 years old at this time?
Yeah, I was like 10.
Going to a 10 o'clock showing, you spoiled fuck?
It was Friday, so...
I was in bed at those times, man.
So Friday...
Trying to watch, getting in trouble for watching Are You Afraid of the Dark at 9 o'clock at night.
So my mom pretty much promised me that she would take me to see it that Friday. So we got 10 o'clock tickets because she got out of work at 9. So we went. I met her up at work and we went to go see it. And as a kid, I was a little disappointed with it. Like it didn't look like the two movies I've seen before. The two movies I've seen before was a lot darker, the colors. I think the colors blended more with the movie in the last two than this one. Like it was so much. It was too bright and too vibrant that it kind of got me off of the Turtles. I was like, what the fuck is going on with this?
And as a kid, you're blinded to a lot of things that an adult would notice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I feel like as kids, like you couldn't even swindle us with this one. Like
Yeah.
we caught on to it. It's one of those movies or one of those things that we grew up with that we weren't fooled by. Like we knew that it wasn't up to par compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was disappointing for that. But yeah, continue. My bad.
Yeah, it was one of those things that was just like it wasn't as good as I remembered it to be, but there was still a lot of like fun little things that I just saw in this movie that I enjoyed. One thing I will give this movie is like some of the one-liners, some of the little like hint jokes and shit like the hit. I'll say not like in your face jokes, but more of the hidden jokes is like when they were like talking to the side kind of thing, but it was a joke still there. I think that's what really got me in this movie. That there was a lot of those in the window jokes. In the window jokes. In the window jokes that I enjoyed those. I enjoyed those more than anything in this movie. The movie itself wasn't that great. Like I feel like it could have been so much better. Even part 2 wasn't as good as the first, but I think at least part 2 stood its course. It gave you the personalities of the turtles. It gave you the personalities of everything that was going around them, and I feel like the turtles were more like the cartoon series than anything in that movie. This one, it was just like they played it way too safe in this movie.
Well, this movie, I actually saw them use their weapons a lot more. They definitely did. Raphael threw his sai at Mitsu to stop her from a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
You saw you saw Michelangelo with 2 swords in his hand fighting like he's Leo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I saw a lot of combat with weapons in this. No, they didn't stab anybody. Obviously, they're not going to do that. And as we know as Ninja Turtle fans, those weapons are more for deflection than they are actually trying to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I agree with you. I think it fell short of what a third movie should be. Even the second one, like you said, there are some gaps in the holes to like the continuous story and stuff like that. But overall, it was fun and it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So this movie did miss the mark on following that up.
Yeah, I agree with
You know what I mean?
So
my favorite thing about the movie though is one, just because I'm a warm-blooded male, I love April O'Neil and she looks so good.
Yeah.
In this movie. That, and we got back Corey Feldman as the voice of Donatello. To me, is everything, man. That's everything to me.
You know what's funny is the fact that, like, now that the fact that Corey Feldman, I know that he talked to him and shit like that, I understand. I see it more, the fact that Donatello had a lot more lines in this movie than before.
Well, Donatello, Corey Feldman was probably the most expensive thing.
Yeah.
In this. You know what I mean?
Probably.
In this movie, he probably had the biggest contract.
Yeah.
He probably had everything because, what's his face, Casey Jones, I know he was doing, and we got the return of Casey Jones and stuff like that, which to me fell short.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for his presence too much in the movie, and his doppelganger in the movie.
Yeah.
I fucking hated him because he's just a bad guy throughout the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no, that's I mean, the negatives totally outweigh the positives when it comes to this. So.
Yeah, they honestly they call it Turtles in Time. Like, I'm looking at the description and it's like, oh, we're back. The Turtles are back, but in time. That
was probably like, it's the Turtles, and then you see like the little words.
No. Yeah, it says teenage. The original. This is the original movie poster, and it says the Turtles are back in time.
In time, dum dum.
I just find it funny.
Like, you tried to fool me, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
So
when was the Turtles in Time game? What time? What
Turtles
year
in
did that come
Time
out?
came out 94, I think.
Okay, so this was the year before, so this gave them the idea of it.
Time. Let's see. I googled it. I love that game too. 91.
That game came out in 91?
91, 92, so it came out before this movie.
Okay, so
It makes
that
sense
game
now.
gave them the idea of making this.
Yeah, it makes sense now.
It does make sense. And it makes sense that how the game has no reference to this movie whatsoever.
You know what game actually has reference to this movie? The first NES game. The second NES game. The Teenage Mutant Ninja,
Manhattan?
the arcade game.
Okay.
The arcade game.
I never beat them, so.
So, the first Turtles was like the RPG. That's when you saw like the turtle van and shit like that. The second one was based on the arcade game, which on NES, the fact that they didn't have the power of the arcade, they added 2 more levels. So they added a snow level and a samurai level. And the samurai level reminds me of this.
Did the movie feel like a Wishbone episode?
It did.
I swear to God, I watched it. I watched it 3 times this week, right?
Yeah.
I watched it last weekend.
You watched it a lot more than I did. I watched it once.
Well, but the
and that
thing
was enough.
The thing is, I try to really over prepare myself for these casts because I want to give our viewers, because we really try and go scene for scene, kind of feel. So, like, if it's really bad, you don't even need to watch it. You can just listen to us, and you get the whole gist of the movie. But this was the least familiar one, so I wanted to make sure. So I watched it like one time. The second time I watched it, it was just more of the background, and I was more on my phone during the process. But I watched it as soon as I woke up today, and it truly is disappointing.
Yeah.
They had so much potential. If they had the money, they had the budget. $21 million.
Yeah.
Is enough to make a really good movie,
especially at that time.
And the whole time I'm watching this, I'm thinking of this era in time in my life, and I remember Wishbone being on, and like how Wishbone always told tales of books, like the famous like Mark Twain books, like Huckleberry Finn and stuff like this, and Frankenstein, and it's the little dog going around doing his thing. Like I feel like this thing was like a PBS movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it should have never even been in theaters. Should have went straight to straight to VHS at this time. You know what I mean? Like it's just the way they put it together. I'm truly disappointed that they tried to pass it off on us, like we would not see what's wrong with it. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I had to make that point of the Wishbone because it definitely felt like a Wishbone episode.
Yeah, it was a weird take on this movie because so we start off. In 1603, in feudal Japan, a young man is being chased by like 4 samurai on horseback and shit like that.
Shoguns.
Yep. As they go into the woods, a mysterious woman emerges under brush and watches closely. However, the samurai eventually capture the taken youth and revealed to be a prince named Kenshin with them. Kenshin. In the present,
the girl, I call her Miso Soup.
Miso Soup.
Because her name is Miso.
Yes. In the present, 2 years after the events, the previous film defeated the Shredder for Clan April O'Neil has been shopping in the flea market for preparation for her upcoming vacation. She brings her friends the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gifts to cheer them up. Michelangelo is given an old lamp. A lampshade which he impersonates Elvis Presley in Blue Hawaii. Donatello is given a broken radio to fix. Leonardo is given a book of swords, and Raphael is given a Friendora. But having stormed off early, he is never formally given it. For Splinter, she brings an ancient Japanese scepter.
Or an egg timer, as she so eloquently puts it.
So
like, but those bags that she gave them, there was so much more shit inside them besides those 2. I wanted to know. Watching this, I was like, what is the rest of the stuff that's in the bags? You know what I mean?
She bought for herself.
Shout out to my homegirl Jenny Boom, but what we do, we're garbage pickers, and we can find some things at flea markets and yard sales and fucking garbages, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to know what was in those bags.
Yeah.
I was really upset about that. But Yeah, no, April, she was, oh my god, just straight when she came in with the leather with the denim jeans and the leather jacket, short hair. She had shorter hair than she did in the second one, and I'm happy that they actually brought back the same girl from the second one
Yeah.
instead of like throwing like another one.
And this.
Because I know,
Go ahead.
no, no, because going into the second one, I felt shortchanged because we didn't have the same April for the first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though I did grow to like this April.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like, it was good that she signed on for another one. So.
Yeah, I feel like they gave her more of a character in this movie than the last. The last movie, she was just there. This one,
Yeah,
she was kind of a star.
She's in it. She's the main focus. She's the one that went back in time first.
Yes.
Which brings up my first red flag. So she hands the egg timer to Splinter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a flashback to feudal Japan, and I forget the guy's name, but you know they're dealing with their thing.
Yeah.
And you know, we get the introduction to the bad guy. So we're talking like feudal Japan and Britain. The British
1603.
people are coming in and influencing Japan with updated technology of guns and cannons and stuff like that. So these guys are like, you know, shoguns and ninjas and stuff like that, and they you know, there's a certain thing that's going on where the sun is being implemented with this rebel, basically.
Yeah.
This girl. So, you know, the father, I forget his name. I literally wrote dad and son through my notes. But he ends up finding the staff, the scepter, after flipping out inside one of the holy temples.
Yeah.
And finds it inside of a statue. So as he grabs this, we flash forward to nowadays. All of a sudden, April is standing there, and like wind is blowing, and everybody's like, "Oh, what's going on?" Da 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 da. Then all of a sudden, you know, she got transported by the scepter with the sun and her. They transport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Before we get into that, before the whole transformation, the beginning of when you see the turtles all dancing and happy and luckily and shit like that.
That big dance scene.
And then they showing that Raphael is working on his anger. So basically, that was one of the things they kind of pointed out, is the fact that when they were all having fun and shit like that, automatically he just threw a sigh at the fucking speaker.
Like, oh.
Fuck the speaker.
Which he never changed. This movie actually accented more on him.
It showed his change. It showed his change in personality because he found someone that had anger like he did, and then also it kind of focused on Mikey as well too.
I mean, all of them had their fair share in the movie.
But
you know
I think Raph and Mikey were like the more focal points.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Splinter wasn't even fucking in this fucking
Splinter
movie.
was a puppet. Yo, Splinter like lost half his body because throughout this whole movie, he's in that fucking train.
Yeah, he's just sitting there and he's just hanging out the window.
Yeah.
The seat that must be in that train must be so comfortable because he didn't even want to move.
He's like, fuck you guys. I'll stay in here. My butt is warm. Many moons ago. My ass was warm. And this is how my ass will be for the rest of my life.
You know, so all right, they do the swip swap. You know what I mean? April gets transported back to feudal Japan, and Kenji, I think that's his name, comes to over here, and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Nobody knows. So like they start flipping out.
Yeah.
And the second, and I love this scene. The second, you know, everybody's flipping out, and then Splinter knows exactly what to say. He just starts speaking Japanese to him, and he looks at him. And what does he do? He passes out. And And then Michelangelo turns to him. He was like, "Oh, Splinter, you must have that effect on people."
Yeah.
Because in the first movie, when April O'Neil saw him, she passed right out, which I thought was clever.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. So they wake him up and he starts calling them Kappa, which Kappa is Japanese demons. You know what I mean? So he starts speaking English, and Donatello's like, "Oh, it makes sense," because Leo's checking out the sword, and Leo's like, "Oh yeah, well, because he's got this book in his hand that April just so happened to give him before
Yeah.
before she got transported, so he can look in this book and find out, according to his sword, that he's from feudal Japan, and it was highly influenced by Britain, like I said before, which makes him understand English."
Yes.
And he talks about how the scepter has powers. You know what I mean? It's just Donatello's running tests on it, and then he finds out, oh yeah, but they have to have equal weights and stuff like this. I have no clue how the hell he came to know all this stuff with his computer of a staff that is never shown existence before, but
Well, you'd be surprised where you find on the internet.
not in 1993.
My man, you probably could find blueprints for a time machine. It might not work, but you probably find blueprints for a time machine.
Listen, man, you wouldn't know if they traveled through time because they might have got stuck in time.
Exactly.
They got locked up because they were told that they were telling people that they were time travelers.
Exactly.
So April goes over to what? He goes to feudal Japan.
Yeah, she goes to feudal Japan.
So they accuse her of being a witch. You know what I mean? So she has her Walkman on and she's listening to some 90s music.
Yes.
She was like, I'm a witch. I put four radical guys in that thing and I shrunk them down. And that British guy, I call him Clint. I'll be honest, I don't even know his name.
Clarence.
Because
he has a Clarence kind of name.
Michelangelo called him Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
At one point during the movie, so I've been calling him Clint.
All right.
Ever since.
I'll take it.
But they imprison her. You know what I mean? She goes inside the thing where that fat guy wheels her up inside the
the executioner.
Yeah,
He was an executioner, and like he would pretty much would kill you if it came to the time. Anyway, moving on. So
basically, we flash back to the Turtles, and Donatello is explaining what's going on with the scepter. Then Michelangelo pops in, "Hey boys, I brought the heavy artillery," and then brings in Casey Jones.
Casey Jones returns to Team H,
which we have not seen since the first movie.
Yeah. And he pretty much just came in as a regular old Casey Jones, and
I'm ready to break some skulls.
And got a really sad reception. He's like, "Hey, Turtles!" And the Turtles like, "Hey,
whatever." He was like, "Come on, guys, let's go break some skulls." Like, the second I saw him, I was like, "There's something weird with the way he's looking."
Yeah.
You can tell his hair is fake.
Yeah.
He's got fucking makeup on and stuff like that. That bugged me. It really did, because Casey Jones would never look like that. Casey Jones is too of a brute man to ever do that.
But to this day, I always will call that guy his name. I always call him Casey Jones. He's in Chicago PD right now, and I was like, "Yo, look! Oh shit, it's Casey Jones."
Bro, he's been in so many movies.
Yeah.
His name is Elias Cotes.
Yes.
Whatever his name is, but he's been so much stuff.
He's in a lot of things, but he's always be Casey Jones to me.
Oh no, hell, definitely.
He's Casey Jones, number one to my heart.
always be, but
yeah.
They were like, "No, Casey, this is not the reason why we brought you here.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back in time and this is when I start seeing that the writing is starting to be really bad, because it's like, how do they know that they can go back in time?
Yeah, like I feel like they all of a sudden knew where they were going and shit like that. There was a lot of things like that in this movie that was just like, okay, how do you know this?
You know what I mean? Like, literally, it was like, all right, we're going to ride the scepter back in time, and we're going to be replaced by 4 people of equal weight. And they thought it was going to be these priests.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which it ended up not being priests. It ended up being his father, Kenji's father's henchmen, his bodyguards.
His royal guards.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's funny because when they got sent back, you know, the turtles aren't wearing nothing.
Yeah.
And Michelangelo makes this great thing. He was like, yo, bro, fucking April, the dude that came back in April ended up in April's clothes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, why aren't we wearing clothes for these people to come back with? Because they're going to be fucking naked.
Before we go further than this is one of my favorite scenes of this movie. And there's very few favorite scenes in this movie, but this is one of them.
How did you get in April's clothes?
Yes, when he was like poking at him and like looking at his pants and looking at his jacket and like,
yes.
How did you get in April's clothes? How does this work?
And that's what you referred back to, those little lines. You know what I mean? Like, that is what made it fun. Because that little thing is like poking, like, yo, how'd you get in April's clothes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was so cool. I thought that was funny. But then, because of that, you know, the turtles get sent. You know, you don't see what happened to them, but you see the 4 people that come in. And they're obviously not naked. The only person that's actually really wearing clothes is the dude that Michelangelo wore shorts for. You know what I mean? He should be grateful because everybody else came in those white little fucking onesies.
Like diaper-looking shits.
Yeah, no, like some real, like, sumo,
like
Yokozuna kind of thing.
Shit.
It was so bad. But, you know, that was clever for Michelangelo to implement that. Like, he was the smart one at that moment in time. He was like, yo, bro, like, everybody should pop these clothes on, and then, well, we ain't got time for that, and then they get sent back.
Yes.
So, this is, then we turn to April hanging in prison.
Yep.
And she's sitting in there, and then this guy starts, you know, the guards start coming in, and they toss this dude inside of this same prison thing, the box that she was in. Same thing with him. And then who is it? It's the doppelganger of Casey Jones.
Yeah.
Looks just like him. She's like, Casey. It's just him with a shaved head.
Yep.
But you know, obviously it's not him. You think it was Casey's ancestor?
I guess that's what they were pointing at. That it was his ancestor and shit.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably wasn't, because Casey Jones's ancestors were probably badasses. You know what I mean? And
no, I could see them being thieves and shit, because he was kind of ghetto when he first came in too.
Yeah, but he was a vigilante.
But you guys realize though, if you actually go into the real story of Casey Jones, like his father and his family was part of the Purple Dragon gang and shit.
So then that probably does make sense.
Yeah.
For being a white guy in feudal Japan.
Yep.
But yeah. So April talks to what's his face's father. He's like, "Oh, where'd you stash my son?" She was like, "I don't know where the fuck your son is." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm here. Your son's not here, obviously. So yeah.
Yeah. So she got pressed, and that's when they discovered the Walkman and shit.
Yeah. No, that was before. That was before the thing.
They broke his Walkman and like that. So the turtles got her. The turtles helped her escape. The turtles. What happens is the turtles. They were not the priests that were supposed to be holding the things. They were the other guys that was holding it. Which now this doesn't make sense as well, because the first scene that you see the turtles in feudal Japan is they're riding horseback. Yeah.
In a battle scene where there's shoguns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Michelangelo obviously has to do something crazy.
Yeah.
And was transported backwards on the horse. You know what I mean?
That's for putting shorts on.
That's what you get for messing with the time, space, continuum.
He fucked with the time continuancy kind of shit.
So like the turtles, obviously, I don't think they've ever been on horses before.
Yeah.
So they're riding, and Michelangelo's horse rides off. The other turtles got face planted into this little pond, little swamp thing, which I loved. I think it was Raphael. Was like, "Oh, I swallowed the frog," and then Donatello goes, "Is like, oh, I hope it was an ancient ancestor."
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
So yeah, so pretty much like they went horseback, right? I actually thought the samurai suits were cool. Like honestly, I sent a couple pictures to NECA to see if they'll make a figure of them. One was
I don't see why not.
One was the Mikey in blue and the blue Hawaii with the shade on his head.
I don't think they would do that. I think they would do the. I think they would do the Shogun though.
I want that toy.
If they would do the baby turtles, the ones that I got you for your birthday, why wouldn't they do the Shogun turtles?
So I want the Michelangelo in blue Hawaii, the fucking with the lamp on his head. I want that toy. And then I want Splinter with the blue Hawaii toy.
That would be hilarious.
I will buy that. I honestly will buy that. But then again, I will actually buy the Shogun turtles too. I think they look pretty dope.
I thought so too. And have like a burnt pizza with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because when they went back, they tried to make pizza.
Yeah, Mikey tried it, and it burned his mouth. And then he's like, "Oh, frisbee, that also cool."
So Michelangelo goes off. You know, he's riding backwards, and he gets hit by miso soup.
Miso.
I call her miso soup.
Miso was a terrible actress as well.
Well, she's actually a better actress in Japan than she is here for American.
I bet she is.
I checked her repertoire, her catalog.
Yeah.
And she's in a lot of things in Japan.
Yeah.
So, but she knocks him off the horse, and then sees his face. You know what I mean? And he dropped the scepter. So that's a big key that Michelangelo had the scepter in his hand, and then got knocked off the horse and it dropped.
Yep.
Because the scepter is the key to everything right now. So.
Yep.
So we go back. The guards square up with Casey Jones. You know what I mean? Like we're flashing back to nowadays. So these guys, they have no clue what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of old ass people from ancient times who have no clue about nothing. So Casey Jones is right there, and he throws something at them.
Yeah.
Turns the TV on, and they get
hockey.
Bewitched by hockey.
Yes.
But yeah. So yeah.
So we go back, and
this is when we get really introduced to the bad guy.
Yeah.
the bad guy comes in, and Kenji's dad is like, "Yeah, we don't need your guns. We don't need none of this shit."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like, "Yo, I got guards that are coming in that are the best guards in all the land," and that's who the turtles ended up being. Mm-hmm. And they ended up going looking for them, and they were hiding underneath the wagon.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious. They came in, and then they met up with Niles.
Yes.
Niles pissed Raphael off so bad.
Yeah.
You lump of dung. He's like, "Oh," and he starts growling at him like a dog. Like, what? Why the fuck are you growling at him like a dog? You know what I mean? Yo, but the best thing is Raphael turns to Leo. He's like, "Did you hear what he said to me?" He's like, "Yeah, he called you a big ugly lump of dung."
I agree with him.
It's like basically it's accurate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The importance of the situation and what's going on, the dramatics. Like for them to laugh about that, like I thought that was so good, but it was so easy for them to find April. They just walked right into the dungeon area, and then April was right there. And then if I was April, I'd be like, "Yo, how the fuck did you guys get here? Like I just got transported here."
Well, they knew she was there. They just didn't know where she was.
She was looking good though.
Yes.
They give Niles a fucking wet willy. They have this big fight scene, and then they exit. They get out of there by jumping through a sewer, which is poetic, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so they're like, "Hey, April, you should fire your travel agent." It's like I mean, the way this movie was put together was very corny. You know what I mean? Like everything that like I'm trying to big up the movie as I'm going and talking about it.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't even sound good as
Yeah.
I'm saying it.
A lot of the shit just like it kind of doesn't make sense half the time when you're actually talking about it. Like, yeah, that sounds stupid.
That sounds stupid, but that's what happened.
Yeah.
I'm going verbatim what happened. You know what I mean? So, now Mikey's gone. Mikey's not with them.
Mikey got hit by Misu.
Yeah, I call them the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, the Rebel Alliance. The Rebel Alliance of the Turtles. And then
exactly.
the Turtles are kind of looking for him.
Yeah, they don't know where to go.
They're kind of looking for him. And then
they're just going along with the flow, and they're yelling his name out, Mikey. You know what I mean? Like they don't know where he is. Mikey was actually being held in a shed. He was and you know he's in this little field place. You know.
So the Turtles pretty much like kind of just chill out near a pond, and that's when they get jumped by the Rebel Alliance.
Well, yeah. Before that happens, though, Raphael really makes like a really good thing. He was like, "Yo, look around. You don't see beer bottles. You don't see beer cans. You don't see homeless people. Like, smell the air. Like, yo, we are where we're supposed to be right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is beautiful compared to what's going on where we live. You know what I mean? This is where you start seeing Raphael, because Raphael, since the first movie, he's always longed for something more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He didn't want to be in the shadows.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that. So, like, for him, this is a moment in time where has a real good self-reflection. I feel like Raphael would have shined in this era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the Rebel Alliance, as we're gonna put them.
We're gonna call them the Rebel Alliance. That's gonna be the name for the rest of this cast.
The Rebel Alliance. You know, they start attacking them because they are Kappas. They are Japanese demons. They don't know what the hell they are. They don't know who's good, who's bad.
Yeah.
They just know that they're wearing Shogun uniforms and they look
demonic.
Amphibian. They look amphibian.
They look demonic.
So, as that big scene is happening, that's when Raphael, April, you know, when April was locked up with the counterpart of the doppelganger of
Casey Jones,
they free Casey as well. You know, we're gonna call him Casey. That's not his name.
That's
we're gonna
Bummy
call him
Casey.
It's doppelganger Casey.
Bummy Casey.
Bum man Casey.
Bum man Casey.
They end up, like, some scuffle happens and they fall down, and Miso Soup pulls back her bow and arrow about to shoot them, and Raphael throws the sai. They're like, "Whoa, stop! We are all on the same team.
Yeah.
We're the good guys." Like, how the hell were you supposed to differentiate the Rebel Alliance? What makes you think the Rebel Alliance weren't good people? I mean, or weren't bad people?
They had no clue. It's writing shit.
Just bad writing.
Bad writing in that sense.
It's just bad writing, man. It really is. Yeah. So what happens is Miso Soup keeps she looks at them like, wow, they look really familiar. No, don't kill them.
She lifts Raph's mask first, and when she touches Raph, she was like, "You look like the other," which is Mikey.
Oh, the other? Oh my god!
Because his color. Yeah. See, it made sense.
It was just his color, though.
It made sense. It made sense. I had to give it credit. It made sense. The fact that she touched his face and then looked at the red and was like, "Oh shit, she looks like the other with orange. Orange and red looks very similar."
Not to mention that they got a big green round ass head.
No,
And
honestly, she didn't look at the face. She looked at the mask. The mask looked
mask,
similar to the other
mask,
one. Fuck that.
the
I didn't see
mask did
green.
it all.
I didn't see green. I just saw the red fucking bandana and it looked like yours.
That's so bad.
It's terrible.
It's so bad. But you know that assured them that Michelangelo was still alive.
So
you know
the
what
thing
I mean?
is the fact that we try to find like positive
Good
things
in
to
it.
say about this movie, but yeah, it's a lot of stupid.
The more and more I talk about it, the more and more I was like, damn, this movie sucks.
This movie was
So-
bad.
It's
This
so
movie was
bad.
bad. So
Like,
pretty
we're
much they
trying to
find
make
Mikey.
it sound cool. We're trying to make it sound cool.
So they find Mikey.
Well, they go to the village.
Yeah,
you know
they
what
go.
I mean?
They go with the rebels to the village and shit like that, and
The
they
Rebel
all
Alliance.
the Rebel Alliance, and they
And
find
Michelangelo.
Mikey.
Yeah, but now before they get there, or as they're getting there, the town is being attacked by Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, and I'm gonna call him Clint Eastwood for the rest of the
Okay,
rest of the
I'm
cast.
fine with that.
Bro, because I don't even know his name. I never knew his name. I never cared about
Yeah.
his name. But so Michelangelo's in the hut and they're attacking the city because if you recall, as they're coming, they stop in their tracks and they see smoke rising in the distance. So it shows that the Rebel Alliance base that they were at was under attack. So Michelangelo is inside the thing, and then those two guys come walking over and they look inside like, oh shit, that's the Shogun that what's his face was looking for, the father of Kenji was looking for.
Yeah.
We're about to go and get him. So they go in, open up the door, which is I thought was a pretty funny part. And they're like, oh, here, why don't you come out, your highness, or some shit like that. And then Michelangelo's like, oh, my saviors, I'm really a beautiful princess in disguise. I thought that whole scene, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then the turtles, you know, they infiltrate the camp, the base that they're at, and Clint Eastwood rides in with his team, and he sees Niles, and Niles, he's like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Go out and kill some people, hurt some people. He was like, sir, there's demons around. There's demons. He's like, they're not demons. They're shoguns wearing masks.
Yeah.
Until he rides off and sees Michelangelo.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like amazed by the way he looks. He was like, holy shit, like that is a very intricate mask you're wearing. you know what I mean? And then that's when Michelangelo hits him with the, hey, Clint Eastwood, I thought Westerns were dead.
Yes.
I was laughing so hard at that point because the guy has no clue who Clint Eastwood is.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood is obviously an American treasure from, he's been making movies forever, and he's known for like Dirty Harry movies.
He's probably like 100 years later.
Yeah, no, more than that. We're talking.
I'm joking. I'm joking at his age because he's old.
Well, yeah. Well, Clint Eastwood was probably born at this time. You know what I mean? But just to throw that pop culture reference in to tie him into like the real world, I thought was funny. I thought it was cool. You know what I mean? So at the same time, the turtles do that that one move that they do where they pull people to the side, beat them up. All you hear is the
yeah,
and then they hop back in, and Niles is right there about to shoot.
Yeah.
And then what? They hit him with a wet willy.
What is the
Another
time?
one.
Wet willy. What is what?
But they hit him. They hit him with him. They hit him with that in the prison. You know what I mean? So like he knows what it is, and he's never experienced any. People don't do wet willies in 1700. You know what I mean? Because this is the 16th century we're talking about. So
that's where I learned. That's what I learned. Wet willy was from.
I never heard of it probably before this. You know what I mean? So
and then I started doing it to everybody. Ask Jackie.
So Clint Eastwood sees that, holy shit, like there's like 4 of these fucking things.
Yeah.
And then the Rebel Alliance comes swarming in, and he's like surrounded and stuff like that. So he does this little dramatic leave where he takes his white horse and jumps through the fence. You know what I mean? So they're sitting there, and then all of a sudden there's this fire inside this hut. And this old man goes, oh, Yoshi's in there. Like, why does the kid have to be named Yoshi for?
Yoshi.
Like, that is such a,
That becomes, like, Raphael's best friend.
Yo, he calls him Raphael's son. I love
son.
I love that so much that he calls him
fucking
that.
Jerry, still to this day, he calls him Raphael's son.
Come away from there.
Raphael.
Never forget who you are.
Yeah, Jerry does that all the time. Shout out to Jerry.
But Michelangelo runs inside because the place is on fire and Yoshi's inside. So he comes out with Yoshi, and you know, like the one little part of this scene that I really like is that he pulls out Yoshi and he's laying on the ground, and Michelangelo's just calling out for water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that to me showed that, oh shit, he did go through there. He's parched, he's dehydrated, he just went through it. Like, he was actually asking for water.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. You know what I mean? So Leonardo grabs him and they're like, no, he's a demon. He's a demon. He's like, no, let me help him. He does CPR on him. You're like, yo, you remember as a kid, well, you grew up in Manhattan, so you probably don't understand it as much as I do, but living out on Long Island, we grew up in the woods and in sumps and, like, really, really woody areas and stuff, so there was always a thing where you're not supposed to touch a frog, because a frog will give you warts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, Leonardo's giving him CPR, like, I feel bad for this kid.
Raphael gave him CPR.
No, it was Leo.
It was Leo?
I promise you it was Leo. When Yoshi and Raphael interact is when they're doing they're running around the huts.
Yeah.
And then they grabbed him, and then he had like the kite and stuff like that. Yeah. That's when Raphael started talking to him.
Yeah.
He actually grabs him too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Tells him to calm his shit.
Leonardo gives him CPR, and you know what I mean? He ends up breathing, and he turns to like Donatello, and he's like, "I hope this makes them trust us." And then they all drop down on one knee. He was like, "Oh, that'll work." I thought that was good. That was a good scene. Like I can't really complain about that scene. That probably was one of the best ones there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So now we after this we flash over to Kenji's dad. I don't know his name, but that emperor dude.
Yeah. And
he's explaining to Clint Eastwood about how there's a prophecy that goes through his family, and it's literally a scroll, and it shows the turtles on the scroll.
Yes.
And he shows them of how the turtles used to go and humiliate his family.
Yeah.
So that's when he tells Clint Eastwood that, all right, I'll take your guns finally. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you gold, you give me cannons, you give me this, and we'll win this shit. We'll make sure. And Clint Eastwood's like, yeah, I'll help you rewrite history. You know what I mean?
You know, every time you say Clint Eastwood, I think of the Gorillaz song.
What song?
Gorillaz. The song Clint Eastwood.
I'm not familiar with it.
What's happening? I'm feeling fine. Got so fine.
I don't.
You ever heard the Gorillaz?
Nah.
Nah? Alright, I'll send you it when we're done with this, guys.
But he is Clint Eastwood, bro. He'll always be Clint Eastwood.
They have a song called Clint Eastwood, so every time you say Clint Eastwood, I think of the damn song.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going. Yeah, keep going.
Well, that was that scene. And then we go back to the turtles, and they're like, all right, so how the fuck are we going to get home? We got everybody here. We got April. We got the turtles.
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to get home? They don't have the scepter, so they start making plans to make a scepter.
Yes.
And April comes and looks at the plans like, this is how you expect us to get home? You're going to make a scepter? And Donatello's like, no! He's going to make it. and it's one of the Rebel Alliance dudes who's a primitive guy, you know what I mean? He's just wailing away at something. He's got a real way with his hands.
April's a hater.
April was a hater, but she was a realist.
She was a hater, though.
You know what I mean?
She had no faith. She had no faith at the Turtles.
Well, if if I was her, I'm like, yo, I just got sent back in time. Like,
Yeah.
what are the chances of fucking getting home?
But then again, it's also you bought the gift, so that's on you.
So the thing is, oh man, I love this scene. April goes walking over to the water, starts wetting her hair, looking all sexy and shit. You know what I mean? And then Casey Jones, fucking Doppel Casey, fucking Fakesy, we'll call him Fakesy. Fakesy comes walking up to her like, yo, you take me with you? She's like, you know, you wouldn't even last out there. Actually, you probably would. You would fit in perfectly.
Yeah.
But you know, you can tell that I already knew at that moment, even as a kid, that he was up to no good. Like,
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that he would have been like the Casey Jones at that time, but he ended up really becoming a scumbag.
He was the asshole. He was to
he
himself.
definitely was.
That's exactly what he was. He was to himself. But yes.
And then at the same time, this is when Casey Jones puts the TV on, and then they're loving hockey and stuff like that. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Then it flashes over to Michelangelo trying to make the first pizza in history.
It's like, oh, pizza burnt, but it was frisbee after that.
And he flew over and hit the guy in the fucking head.
Yep.
I'm trying to make this sound good, but it's really not.
But it shows the turtles start like understanding the area.
Being where
They understood.
Stuff.
They understood the area they were in. They were like, they liked the peace. They liked the calm. Raphael was like accepting it very well, because that's when Raphael, Yoshi-san came into him to want him to play and shit, and Raphael interacted with him as well.
Yeah. See, this is when Yoshi's running around the building, and he grabs him and then tells him to watch his anger. Like, bro, this kid doesn't know who you are. You look like a fucking... You're a kappa. You're a Japanese demon. And you just snag me up? Of course I'm going to have a fucking attitude with you. And he's like, oh, you need to watch your anger, buddy. He was like, holy shit, I never thought I'd ever say that to anybody.
I felt like that was the exact moment they were trying to say. Like, he didn't expect that to say that to anybody. But
Exactly.
He wound up saying it to Yoshi. He wound up saying it to Yoshi to pretty much calm his anger down. And he got a connection to that Yoshi character.
Yeah. And then you see Mikey start like reflecting with miso soup.
Yep.
And then she was like, yeah, I'm trying to find Kenji. He was like, no, Kenji's back where we're from.
Yeah.
So he's alive. She's like, oh shit, he's alive. He was like, yeah, you know, he'll be back soon. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we flash back to Casey and the guys. Now the guys are starting to get westernized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're wearing hockey jerseys, eating Doritos, watching TV. He's like, it's time for a cultural exchange. So Casey Jones puts his hockey mask on, sits inside the net, which is hilarious to me, because he's going to teach these guys how to play hockey.
Yep.
And then he was like, yo, remember on TV, they look at each other, and then just start beating the shit out of each other, because that's what they got gathered out of playing hockey, was the fighting scenes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I thought that was funny.
That was funny. It was actually pretty funny. And then it moves on to
the guy signs for the guns.
Yes.
And then he was like, all right, well, my prison is kind of full, so we're just gonna have to kill everybody.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then Mikey starts suggesting, hey, how about we stay here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But that was before. That was and during the when they like it was a whole scene before that. So pretty much the turtles start. Fuck, what happened before that? Can't think of it right now. I know they were chasing Clint Eastwood.
Well, Clinton's already over there. He's already gone.
So they started attacking. They started attacking the village.
They already did that.
Even before that.
No, they didn't attack it again. What ends up happening is that now there's 12-hour windows for the turtles to get done. So they got 60 hours in total to get shit done. So Raphael's talking with Yoshi, and Yoshi's like, oh, Raphael, son, I don't want you to die. I don't want you to die. and then gives him the scepter. What ended up happening was the old man of the town of the Rebel Alliance's base hid the scepter on purpose because he didn't want his daughter, Miso Soup, to
Yeah.
fight in this battle, so he hid the scepter. And what ended up happening was fake Casey Jones ended up stealing the scepter and bringing it to Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then they went and chased after him to go and get that back.
Yes.
So it was in the Emperor's palace area
Yes.
where they have that big fight scene. You know what
Yes. And they locked the Emperor inside the bell.
I mean? Well, yeah. Well, what happened was Leonardo and him started going at it.
Yes.
And he got the upper hand on Leonardo for 1 second, and Leonardo got so pissed and fucking knocked his sword out of his hand. And the Emperor was like, "All right, go ahead, finish me." And he just chopped his bun off the top of his head, which was awesome. So then he ended up moving, and then the fake Casey Jones, who at this time, who was hired by Clint Eastwood, he wasn't happy about what's going on because he didn't want April to get killed. And Clint Eastwood wanted to kill her. So he ended up shooting down the bell, and the bell closed on top of the Emperor dude.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And I love the little minor joke they had when they fucking broke the bell.
Well, before that happened though, they got all swarmed in, they got overpowered, and Clint Eastwood comes in. I love how I call him Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, I'm trying to make him sound cooler than what he is. It's literally a Wishbone episode. But he comes in, and he was like, "All right, everybody kill them." And he was like, "No, how about you kill us? We're demons, you remember?
Yeah.
The bullets are going to bounce off of us. How about you kill us?" So then he goes over, and he's like, "All right, I'll kill you. Hey, I got a better idea. Let me shoot a cannon." So what does Leo do? He fucking jumps in his shell, because that's what turtles do. And the cannonball went past and then destroyed the bell.
Yep.
And then he had a smoking head when he came out of that.
Yeah.
This movie is so bad. Yeah. So,
So he pretty much was trying to escape. He forgot his bird, and when he went to his bird, he landed.
Well, he stole the scepter. He stole the scepter.
Yes.
So he's running away from them, and they're chasing him, and he goes up on top of the thing, which is like a little rope going down this huge ass cliff, which I don't get. And he literally stands there, and the turtles go and confront him. And this is the first time ever in Turtles history, of movies wise, where I actually heard Donatello. He's like, you guys are demons." He's like, "We're not demons. We're turtles. We're turtles. We're the teenage mutant ninja kind." You know what I mean?
He said the title.
They never once were ever called that in any movie. So, yeah. So, what's his face? He tosses the scepter, and they go and catch it. They use the human fucking chain to catch it, to grab it. The guy starts leaving, leaves Finches behind, and then fake Casey Jones ends up throwing. He does like a catapult of fire, and it knocks him off the cliff, and Clint Eastwood perishes in the water.
Yep.
Dum dum dum.
Dum dum dum.
So big celebration. They fucking win. You know what I mean? And go back to New York. Kenji's getting really anxious, and fuck, what does Casey Jones do? Casey Jones took the guys out and brought them to a bar.
The bar, you know what's funny? That bar is right on Abbey and East 9th Street.
It's still there?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
That was the bar that they went to. And I was like, oh shit, I know that bar. And then he brought them to the bar. He had them playing hockey. He had them like going crazy.
Yeah, they were doing karaoke. Like they were fucking. They were having a good old time, but Kenji wanted to leave, and Splinter's like, no, that is not honorable. Da da da.
Yes.
So at this time in Japan,
still in this train,
they're about to leave, and Michelangelo's like, yo, let's stay. Like, I'm not going back. And Raphael's like, yeah, yo, we don't gotta hide. We can finally stay here. We can finally be us. And then April's like, no, bitch, I'm going home. Donatello's
Yes.
like, I can't live without another microchip again. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So they ended up I forget what happened. Michelangelo ran over to Yoshi or something. They get
Yes.
transported back, and
Wait.
then
Yeah. So pretty much, the four guards pretty much grabbed the scepter, and they pretty much was going to go back and shit like that. The turtles all grabbed the scepter, and they all accepted to go. Mikey was still hesitant and shit like that. He was still talking, and then once the scepter started going, Mikey started running towards it, and pretty
like
much
Mikey.
they all left, and then he left, and you don't know what happened after that.
Yeah.
But you're gonna know.
They go back to New York, and Mikey was left behind. The guy steals the scepter, runs up the stairs, but that was time correcting itself. That's
Yes.
really what it was. You know what I mean? So Yoshi sees Kenji again, and they're about to get it on. Michelangelo comes back, but he's all sad because he wanted to stay there, and he's like, "I'll never laugh again."
Yes.
And then the Splinter with the lampshade over his
The
head.
Mikey, the Elvis in Blue Hawaii lampshade on his head, which NECA should make a toy of. I want that toy.
That would be good. That would be fun.
I want. Yo, seriously, I will buy that toy.
I would buy it with you.
Yes.
But then that's the movie.
Yes.
As cool as we tried to make it sound, obviously we failed miserably on that note because the movie is horrible.
The movie is hard. It is a hard movie to pass. It's a lot of like bullshit. This is just a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of like toy sales kind of bullshit.
You tell me what you liked and what you didn't like while I go pee.
I pretty much liked. I did like a lot of the one-liners, the set of one-liners kind of thing like that. Like when April got kidnapped and Mikey was like poking her and like poking the guy and like grabbing the pants and like, hey, how do you get in April's pants? Things like that. Like, oh hey, it's the Addams Family. That was another scene I liked, and pretty much a lot of the one-liners. Like I still think they were slick with the one-liners in this movie because it that's what brings the Turtles what they are. They are a bunch of one-liners. If you watch the first one, you watch the second one, there was a lot of one-liners and things like that, and it made them the characters they are. I did like the Raphael story, as in he kind of got a glimpse of his anger, and he learned how to deal with the anger because he saw someone else angry, and he helped them build on that anger, which was the little kid Yoshi. And I just felt like yes, but I felt like in visual the kids. I think Raph had a good story into this movie. I think Mikey had the focal point of the story. Them getting transferred back into time and shit like that, they saw a lot of perspective and shit like that. But the thing I liked about the movie, I think it was the one-liners. It was like the little slick one-liners that they had in this movie throughout the whole movie. Like when Mikey was poking at the dude, and it's like, yo, how you get in April's pants? And things like that. Like those are the little subtleties I enjoyed. Like, hey, look, it's the Addams Family, kind of thing like that. I enjoyed and I settled into it. But other than that, the movie wasn't like it didn't have a casino.
They didn't have a good villain, bro. We just got done with the Shredder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then we have Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Who's not even as good as Clint Eastwood.
We didn't have a villain. We didn't even have much of a villain. The villain was the villain, but it wasn't much of a villain. I didn't like the fight scenes as much as I liked the first two. Like, I felt like, again, they were animatronic and they were really tough to watch. The characters as well. Like, you didn't have any characters to really, like, to feed off of.
I think the real battle was just them trying to get back to their time. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing that they couldn't have handled at that time that they
Yeah.
haven't already handled beforehand.
Yeah.
I like April. I think she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I do agree with you on the building of Mikey and Raphael, especially Raphael, because
Yeah.
Raphael learned something.
Yeah.
He said something that he never thought he would say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything else is bad. It's not good. It's
Yeah.
a PBS Reading Rainbow episode, bro.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's Wishbone, an hour and 29 minutes long. You know what I mean? It's not good. It's not anything that I would ever recommend anybody to watch unless I tell them you have to watch all the Turtle movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I would never be like, yo, bro, you have to go and watch Turtles 3 and slam it.
Yeah.
No, it's dumb. It's dumb.
It's a tough movie to watch. It is. If you have kids and stuff like that, I think they will enjoy it. But if you're watching it for entertainment purpose, yeah, it may be a movie you might not like.
I don't even think kids these days would like it.
I think kids will like it because it's.
I don't think so, man.
I think
they got Paw Patrol and shit that is better than that
I
shit.
think
I was
it's silly
watching
enough.
I was watching Paw Patrol 2 weeks ago, and that thing was more captivating than this fucking
I think
movie.
they had enough silliness that it could pick up on people.
I feel bad that we tried to swindle people through this cast and try to make certain parts sound cool, and it just fell flat. It was
So
flat lines.
I will not admit that I try to make people to watch this movie.
I
will say that I have said my points that I liked about the movie. Then other than that, like the rest, it could go to hell. To all I
Yeah,
care.
bro, it's a horrible.
Yeah.
It is deleted out of my database. You know what I mean? I don't think I'll ever go back to watching it again unless I'm sitting with somebody else that I told that it's a horrible movie and they still wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go through this with you, man. I'll do it with you,
So
bro.
our verdict. This is the thing of the cast is the verdict. What is your verdict of 1 to 10? Where you give this movie?
Fucking 3.
I give it a 3 as well.
I'll give it a 3, bro. That's a solid 3. It's not good at all. It's not good at all.
Yeah.
Storyline is horrible. They could have done so much stuff with this, man. You know what I mean? They just did Terminator 2 right at the same time that this movie came out.
Well, Terminator
You know
2
what I
is
mean?
91.
91, 92. Pretty sure Terminator. If you see that movie, you see how time travel is supposed to be, how you can really impact something. You had $21 million. I feel like they spent more money on the windows in their houses than they did for this movie. They paid their kids tuition with the $21 million budget that they had.
Yeah.
Because the suits was horrible. They looked like fucking Fergies. You know what I mean? Like
The suits were terrible. I agree with that 100%.
too many spots. The eyes moved around. The teeth looked horrible. It was just not good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel bad for the people who were making this movie. Like April, the girl who plays as April, had to have felt while filming this movie that it was going to suck. You know what I mean? Like, they look like shit compared to the second movie, and the second ones weren't even like 100% like the first one was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This one was just so bad.
I feel like
every-
she saw her paycheck and she was like, alright, I'll do this.
Corey Feldman was probably 10 million out of the 21 million.
Yeah. I believe that. Like, he was probably the 10 million of the 21 million. Like, he got paid a lot for the voice back into TMNT kind of shit.
Bro, all the huts that they built, the scenic stuff wasn't expensive to build. It
That's
wasn't.
hating shit.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? They're filming in a fucking field.
Yeah.
You know, like in the woods. Where is all that money going? Like, I feel like the IRS should go to these guys like, where's this money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they need to be audited immediately.
I give it a 3. 3 out of 10. I agree. 3 out of 10.
It's so bad, and it's never. I never want to watch it again. Unless,
I'm
like
fine
I said,
without watching this movie again as well.
I mean, it probably will happen one time in my life again, but I'm not gonna go into it positive in any way. I'm gonna let that person know Like, you're in for a really shitty thing. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I agree. So, this
Ah,
is our review, a verdict of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: Turtles in Time. Sorry, it's not as great as a review as you want it to be, but yeah, the
dude,
movie
we
sucked.
tried. We tried.
We try
How
to
do you
find
how do you
good things out this movie. I'm
how do you
serious.
turn shit to gold, man? You know what I mean?
You,
Like, you can't do
it's like
that.
cleaning shit. It's like cleaning
I,
shit.
we can only be as animated as possible. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If we're watching a shit movie, you're gonna get a shit response for it. It's a
Yes.
fact.
So, yeah, this is our review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: Turtles in Time. This is our verdict. I give it a 3. Tommy gives it a 3. It was probably our
Definitely do.
lowest review of pretty much all the movies.
It's probably, and I haven't even. I've seen the new movies that just came out, but the animated movies coming up,
Yeah.
I can already tell this will be the worst movie. Maybe the TV show that Saban did
Yeah.
might be equally as shitty.
I'll say the Michael Bay movie would be as equally.
Yeah, but there's still more things in that movie that is better than this fucking movie.
I don't think so.
The comedy of that movie is better.
No.
Megan Fox is hot, and we were there at Grand Central when
That
they
was
filmed
part
the
2.
second one.
That was part 2.
I know, when they filmed the
Part
second
1
one.
doesn't count.
I was part of that sequence, man. I yelled at Michael Bay.
Yeah, you can't count the second one and the first one.
I didn't know I was talking to Michael Bay at the time when I told him to shut the fuck up, because I was doing my bootlegging as they were filming at
Yeah.
Grand Central, and he turns to me, "Hey, turn your fucking phone off." I was like, "Fuck you! This is my house!" And I'm like, "Oh shit, that's Michael Bay, bro."
Yeah.
I cursed at Michael Bay. I got that on my catalog, on my resume.
So, this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 verdict. This is our review of it. The next movie will be TMNT. That's what it's called. It's the CGI movie that came out quite a few early 2000s. It was a CGI movie by the same people that did the Peanuts movies and things like that. I actually saw it when it first came into theaters, and I actually really enjoyed it. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing the CGI movie. I felt like it was slightly boring because the villain wasn't that great, but it is Patrick Stewart, so you might enjoy that as well. But that's the next movie we are going to be doing a verdict on Shell Shock.
Yeah, go back to our previous movie cast of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one, second one, and like, subscribe. Those casts are definitely better than this one. This one is just negative, and
Yes.
I'm happy we're done and over with this. So,
Yes. So-
like and subscribe to all of our channels and
Yes,
all
please.
of our videos. You go ahead, go off with that, because that's usually your segment.
Yes. So please follow, like, and subscribe. I'm Mark the Mic. You can follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, SoundCloud, and Instagram. All Mark with the Mic, and Twitch TV, Mark with the Mic. You can follow our Facebook pages at the Red Cyclone Link on Facebook, and the Wrestling Babble on Facebook pages as well. And also follow Tenacious T.
Yes, I mean, I'm on all those sites, and I will be starting my own Twitter and my own Facebook and, SoundCloud, stuff like that. But
Yes.
I will give you all that information as the time comes, because I have
Yes.
yet to do that, but it is on my agenda.
And
Please
also,
go back and support our other casts
Yes.
of Not a Trekkie and the Morphin Cast, which
Yes.
are monthly podcast that we do with Red Cyclone Inc.
yes.
And yeah.
Seeing that we're in quarantine, you might get more of the casts sooner than later. The fact that we're able to adjust into the quarantine thing and actually be able to do it offline. So basically, we are doing the fact that you're getting Not a Trekkie and a Shell Shock in the same month as the first ones are great. With the fact that we are able to do the cast a lot faster.
Hey, listen, man, we dedicated as far as we put ourselves dedicated to it, and I'm with it.
Please follow.
Always a shout out to. I was
Go
going to
ahead.
give my shout out to Game On. Always a shout out to Game On Retro Video Game Store out on Long Island, located in 2 different locations. One is Setauket, Smithtown area, and Miller Place. Right now, due to quarantine, stores are shut down, but they are doing shipping. So if you go on to Facebook at Game on Facebook, you can put orders in, and they will ship free shipping anything orders over $100, which you and I both know $100 goes very quick
Yes.
when it's collecting retro video games.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
now is the time to go and collect that stuff, since all you're doing is sitting at home. So you might as well get some culture inside you.
Go
So
buy
shout
yourself
out
an
to.
N64.
I just bought myself a Dreamcast, so I'm
I'm
really
about to
happy
go
about
buy
that.
me an N64. I'm not. Yo, seriously, if I get that car this week, I'm gonna drive to Long Island and get an N64.
Well, they're only doing curbside
Yeah, that's fine.
in Smithtown. That's
No,
it.
no, no. I read it. I read it, and I will
So,
drive up there just to get the shit because I had
Big
nothing else to
big
do.
big shouts out to them for being able to adapt with nowadays.
Yes,
So,
yes. And I have a couple local video game stores as well. They're really great, and they doing the same shit. Video Games New York and J&L Video Games on 36th Street and 6th Avenue, and then Video Games New York on 6th Street on 3rd Avenue. You could get your local games. They do curbside service, and they do shipments. So, and they still allow you in the store, 3 people minimum.
look out for our future cast
Yes.
of we are going to start diving into the world of retro video games themselves.
Yes. That'll be a probably start for next month. That'll be a next cast for next month. And yes, we'll be diving into video games. We don't have the topic just yet or a name. So if you have a name that you want to name a cast, and give us a comment below, and we'll consider it. If not, we'll figure a name out by the time the show starts.
and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have enough content to last us a while with
Yes.
that one.
Yes,
You
yes,
know
yes.
what I mean? We can go console to console, best games,
Yes.
etc., etc. But in the meantime, stay tuned for our future cast and everything Red Cyclone Inc. oriented, because
Yes.
that is the community that we roll.
Yes.
So
So, and follow everything Recycle Inc. They're on WordPress, they're on Twitter, they're on Tumblr, they're on SoundCloud, they're on YouTube. They are also on Facebook page of the Recycle Inc. and as well. Follow everything that they do. Follow the Monster Hunter videos he had been posting as well. And always remember, follow the Jinkies.
just don't feed him a sandwich.
Don't feed them a sandwich, and fuck Zordon.
Fuck Zordon always.
Yes, on Shell Shock, on Not a Trekkie, on Morphincast. We still
On
say
Wrestling Babble on fucking Red
yes.
Cyclone Inc.
Oh,
Everything
fuck
fuck
Zordon.
Zordon.
fuck Zordon.
I am Tenacious T.
I am Rex the Mike. Peace out, laters, and stay safe.